If stones could speak, some of the folds in the clouds of the Yungang Grottoes might be speaking a language from 10,000 miles away. On these colossal Buddha statues, the garments cling to the body, revealing the musculature beneath. The drapery falls like a cascade of water, full of soft, fluid texture. This masterful depiction of the relationship between cloth and the human form, its source of inspiration was not in the East. Their faces are serene and Eastern, yet the clothes they wear subtly echo the breezes of the Mediterranean. Why would artisans in northern China dress the Buddha in this manner? To answer this, we must begin with an ancient obsession with perfection. In ancient Greece and Rome, the art was centered on the human being. Sculptors were obsessed with portraying the idealized body, and clothing was not merely for covering, but for enhancement, for praise. The wet drapery style, clinging to the form, showcased the power and divinity of the flesh. The flowing folds gave life and rhythm to stone. They pursued a rational perfection and a sensory reality. Following the Eastern campaigns of Alexander the Great, this artistic seed of using drapery to reveal the body was carried to Central Asia. There, in Gandhara, it encountered the flourishing religion of Buddhism. Brilliant craftsmen became the first translators of civilization. They did something remarkable. They used the language of Greco-Roman sculpture to tell the story of the Buddha. And so, the Buddha was dressed in a robe similar to a Roman toga, with realistic, three-dimensional folds. For the first time, Buddhist art possessed such a powerful corporeal presence and an international flair. This artistic wave, traveling with merchants and monks along the Silk Road, finally reached Pingcheng, the capital of the Northern Wei dynasty. The imperial artisans of Yungang saw this new style. They keenly recognized its power. This realistic drapery could make the Buddha's image more majestic, tangible, and potent. They gladly embraced this international trend, and with their unparalleled stone carving skills, they immortalized it on the cliffs of Mount Wuzhou. This was no mere imitation, but a deliberate artistic choice based on profound understanding. However, the most moving chapter of Yungang's story was just beginning. The artisans did not stop at replication. Soon, they began to infuse the art with their own soul. As the Northern Wei regime became more established in China proper, especially after Emperor Xiaowen's comprehensive Sinicization reforms, society's aesthetic ideals and spiritual pursuits underwent a profound shift. The spirit of the scholar gentleman from the southern dynasties, a fashion that championed intellectual discourse and sought spiritual liberation and ethereal grace, gradually replaced the Mediterranean's close-fitting realism. We can see this transformation clearly in many of the mid to late period caves, like Caves 5 and 6. At Yungang, the Buddha's powerful physique is no longer emphasized. Instead, he is dressed in impossibly wide, Han-style robes. The inner tunic sash is tied neatly at the chest, the outer kasaya hangs down with both collars open, and the sleeves spread out like flowing clouds, creating a vast and free-spirited silhouette. From wet drapery to broad-robed and wide-belted, this evolutionary arc of drapery is the perfect metaphor for cultural fusion. First, one opens one's arms to understand and appreciate the beauty of another. Then, one assimilates and digests it, integrating it into one's own bloodstream. And finally, one creates a new, unprecedented beauty that belongs uniquely to this place, to this moment. This shift occurred almost simultaneously with the Chinese landscape painting's move from realism to impressionism in pursuit of spirit resonance and vitality. Therefore, when we gaze upon the folds on the Buddhas of Yungang, we see more than just a carving technique. We see how humanity's shared longing for perfection and the divine traveled across deserts and mountains, inspiring geniuses from different peoples to create. What flows on that stone is nothing other than the wisdom of mutual understanding and mutual fulfillment between civilizations,